Hi there and welcome to Chita Diaries. Today I'm doing a very special video with Inutu J Mubanga. She has a YouTube channel as well. Please make sure to head over to her channel. Make sure you subscribe. And I sent her a couple of questions because I was curious to find out what her experience has been studying abroad as a Zambian national. And I sent her a couple of questions, about the application process, visas, study permits, finding work abroad, and being a mom, okay, while doing your PhD, because she is currently doing her PhD, and it was quite insightful. And I do hope you enjoy it. Definitely stay tuned, make sure you comment and follow her socials as well as subscribe to her YouTube channel. So without further ado, here is Inutu J Mubanga.
Hi, this is Ingutu. I have a channel here on YouTube. It's called Ingutu J Mubanga in case you are interested in seeing any of my videos. Cheetah Diary sent me some questions and I'm going to be trying to answer them. I have them on my laptop, so I will be looking down occasionally to read them. So we'll just go straight into the first one, which says quick background regarding your roots here in Zambia and then subsequent higher education. Okay, so I was born and raised in Lusaka. I did all of my primary and secondary school education in Lusaka. Then at age 18, I got a scholarship to go and study abroad. I went away for a couple of years. When I completed my studies, I came back home to job hunt and eventually found a job, and then worked for a couple of years, then went to do my master's degree, came back home to Zambia, worked for a couple of years, then I went away now currently to do my PhD. What advice would you give a Zambia national who wants to apply abroad for a scholarship or source funding based on the universities you have attended? Okay, so my first scholarship was granted to me through the Bursaries Committee of Zambia. They normally have undergraduate and postgraduate scholarships available. Actually, if I'm really honest, all of my scholarships sort of came through the Bursaries Committee because they are the main scholarship or official scholarship agency for the Republic of Zambia. So what I imagine happens is, let's say if the Cuban government has 200 scholarships, they are not just going to splatter them on some website. They will approach, excuse me, the government agency in Zambia, which is the Bursaries Committee. So that's what happened. Before I got my undergraduate scholarship, I was applying to anyone and everyone. I remember I had this little diary with some company. I don't remember the company exactly, but I saw that they had different headquarters all across the globe, and I was busy saying, okay, I'll write the managing director for this company. But it's much easier now. All you do is click online and say scholarships for Zambians to study in Canada, scholarships for Zambians to study in Germany, in China, in Havana, or wherever. And if those countries have scholarships, or universities have, or the universities in those countries have scholarships, information will come up. If it's not completely visible or clear, there will be some sort of contact information that you can write to and ask. You can email or you can call. So yeah, because most teenagers now, they probably have mobile phones. I was 18 and I didn't know what a mobile phone was. What has your experience been with visa and study permit applications as a Zambian national? Okay, because I got my scholarships through government agencies or like official bodies. I mean, once you have once you have an acceptance letter, once you have the backing of your national government or official letter saying this is so and so who has been granted the scholarship by us, there's always like a letter, an official letter that you could use to go with your application. Because, for example, when I was doing my undergraduate, I guess the the guarantee was that I was going to have enough funding to take care of myself, although that wasn't really a requirement for the Cuban scholarship. But for my MA also, they want to know you are going to be able to take care of yourself. There's one note that almost all of my scholarships had as a requirement was, will you be returning home? For example, when you had to do the application process, where would your funding come from? Obviously, it's the scholarship body in part, as well as the Zambian government. So once you have that sorted and it's pretty much official, it's just a formality. I imagine when you're self-funded, it's more difficult. Then you have to put up, definite and more, well, not physical, but you have to show financial capability of paying for your studies and paying for your accommodation and so on and so forth, because they don't want you to travel to their country and become destitute. If you have official backing, it's pretty easy, but as a personal or private citizen, I imagine it's really difficult, and you have to have quite a lot of money and show how you have access to that, because really what you need to show is you're able to pay for your studies, you're able to pay for your upkeep. Yeah, basically. Fourth question: what advice or tips would you give on finding employment while studying abroad to help with upkeep? During my undergraduate, I did work, but it wasn't paid work. I mean, I had maybe it was, but I had like a steady monthly stipend from the Cuban government to live on. And then every so often, maybe every 3 or 4 or 6 months, depending, the Zambian government would come in and check and see how we were doing. But basically, so during my undergraduate, I can't claim that I worked and earned any money. My MA or master's program was only 10 months. It was pretty intense. I was in class from early morning till late evening, so working was a little bit difficult or almost impossible. I had to maybe either save working for the weekend, but we always had projects to do, work to do, so that was hard. I only worked very briefly during December for about a month, but that wasn't even very complicated because it's such a super busy time of the year. So most places are looking for people to work to cover shifts during the holiday season, so that was easy to find. And also summer also is also another hectic or very busy period overseas, because people are traveling, so companies will need people to cover shifts. So I pretty much just checked like local advertising agencies, part-time jobs available during the periods I wasn't committed to class. So yeah, and then these days there are like employment agencies or part-time employment agencies. You could always approach them and tell them your availability. So I'll give you the example of the UK. When you get a student visa, they will say on your visa, you can work for 20 hours a week. So you also must have that requirement on your visa that you can work. A company can't hire you unless you have the legal right to work. So I could work. I worked during my PhD. I did not a lot, but a couple of hours on campus, always at the end of the semester, to help out with exams and so on, because it's really, really busy, and the turnaround time for getting results or students in and out of exams is really hectic. So they would need us to help out, but it wasn't really my goal. I was always almost focused on I have been pretty focused on doing my studies, because school is very hard for me. I'm pretty much an average student, so I have to study double the time everyone else does. So I always, most of the time, dedicated to studying. But it is possible if you can juggle part-time work and your studies and do well and ace your exam, it is very possible. I think actually the UK is pretty great for that, because they have lots of sectors, lots of, it's service industry driven. So there's lots of part-time jobs. You will walk into shops or restaurants, etc., and most of the staff are young. That's because they're university students doing part-time jobs. So they have a system that allows for part-time students to be able to be integrated in companies, so you can make your little monies, either to help you supplement paying your rent or buying your books, etc. How did you adapt studying in a non-Anglophone country, and would you recommend it? Okay, yes, because unlike other people in my class or in my family, for example, I never opted to study a foreign language. The option we had was French, and I wasn't really interested. I don't even know if it was an option in either my primary school or my secondary school, but anyway, I wasn't interested, or maybe it wasn't an option. So being forced for my undergraduate to study another language, I had to learn Spanish. It's been useful because it was challenging, obviously, because I spent all of my life speaking either Lozi, Nyanja, or Sambemba, and lots of English. So having to learn this other language, having to learn, the biggest challenge, for example, for me was learning conjugation. You have to look that up. And that was a real challenge, because it's so different from English to Spanish. I have an extra language that makes me sort of like an attractive prospect for when companies want to hire someone, because it's more and more of a global world, and and it's been useful. I got part-time jobs in the past, where my language skills were required. So it's not a complete waste. But you really have to think about how useful will this language be to me when I complete my studies. I didn't factor this in. I just thought, oh, Spanish, it's so glamorous, but I wasn't really thinking about how useful is it going to be for my professional career. How many other countries use Spanish? So for example, if I would be, or I would be in Lusaka and not really using Spanish, but more and more people who speak Spanish are coming to Zambia. There are conferences, people are interested in learning Spanish, so I could use my Spanish to either teach privately or do a bit of translation. But basically, if none of that was happening, I would be stuck with this language that I couldn't really make use of, personally or professionally. How have you balanced being a mom and a PhD student? I have to confess, of all the the undergraduate and then the master's and now the PhD studying period has been the toughest for me. I've tried to make videos talking about the process. You will find them, there's a playlist, but really it's been really difficult for me. Parenting on its own, I made a comment once in one of my videos that before being a mother, or while being a mother, I feel like I did several mini master's degrees, on child nutrition, on newborn baby care, on what clothes to get for the baby. I had absolutely no idea. Some women know, but I didn't have so many younger siblings, or I do, but I didn't take care of them like that or babysit. So I missed a lot of my friends' babies' births, or my nieces and nephews. I was absolutely clueless. I had to be learning everything from scratch. So juggling that and the PhD, it's been really difficult. And yeah, I'm hoping I can finish my PhD soon. The parenting will continue forever and ever. But the PhD, I'm hoping to finish soon. I'm really, really, really looking forward to finishing. Lastly, were natural hair products accessible for you in Cuba? And now, because I also I live in Spain. And what has your experience been as a natural in these two countries? Okay, so in Cuba, I mean, yes, I had natural hair. I had just come out of high school or secondary school, if you like, and I still had my natural hair. Relaxing my hair wasn't really something I thought about, so I kept doing what I did in high school, which was protective styles during the week, a wash every 2 weeks or every week. Eventually, I had dreadlocks for a couple of years. So, I mean, really, maintenance, it wasn't really a struggle, and I really did, like I said, what I did in high school. I had my hair in a protective style during the week and I washed it at the weekend. The difference, well, so that was what I did in Havana. And now in Spain, okay, the challenge really for me is there isn't such, or there wasn't initially in the neighborhood I moved into, or the area that I moved into, a very big population of Black people. And if they were there, I wasn't really sure where to go to get products. But you know, with the internet nowadays, you just do a little bit of research and then you say, okay, I figured out my hair was type 4 hair. I mean, I knew this before. I've known this for several years, so I would just go online and either search for products that I had used previously. So like a conditioner that I like to use that sulfate free, or the other, a good conditioner was like this Tresemme Naturals conditioner. I tried to get that, and eventually I would learn terms, because all of the natural hair terms I had known before were mostly in English. So when I came to Spain, even though I do speak Spanish, I had to learn the terms again. So paraben free, silicone free, you know, all of this, but with just a little bit of research. And there are lots of, well, lots no, but there are forums for Black girls or mixed girls who live in Spain, and they share info. So a lot of also using YouTube. I once did a video talking about 5 Black Spanish women that I follow on Instagram. So that was also useful, just using social media to find people and see what they recommend, what they use. And I mean, Amazon is global now. So if you need a shampoo or conditioner, you might order it from the US. You just wait a couple of weeks and then you get it, or from the UK, a couple of weeks and you get it. Although Spanish people also have like really curly hair, thick curly hair, so there's some products that work, you know. And yeah, I think that was the last question. Sorry about that. I hope I answered everything. If anything, if you have any queries, feel free to comment under this video or visit my channel, and or find me on Instagram, La Zambiana. And yeah, I will try to respond to any questions. Thank you very much. Bye.